Welcome back to the Wix Wiz. I'm Aton. Today we're going to be talking about a new offering that Wix has released in beta. It is, of course, an AI tool, and it is along the lines of the AI in blocks that we explored a few weeks ago, but this one is at a completely different level. It is a full-fledged vibe coding tool called, you guessed it, Vibe by Wix. And it is along the lines of Lovable, if you're familiar with the term, and it allows you to create headless Wix websites with a React front end that is designed using AI and certain design tools. So if you want to learn all about that and more, let's get started. So first impressions before we even get started. Pretty typical UI for a vibe coding platform. We have in kind of front and center, we have the prompt box, so where we can type and describe what we want to create. And just taking a look here at a few other indicators. So here on the upper left, we have Wix Vibe and an indication that it's in beta. So this is something that's still somewhat under development. And if we take a look over here, so one interesting thing that I see here that I haven't seen in a lot of other tools like this is a microphone icon. So essentially we can potentially transcribe our commands and see what it creates. So that might be interesting to try out. Another unique thing that I see here is the option to pick an AI design partner. So when I click that, it kind of lets you pick one of these designers. I don't think that these are real people. I think these are just different templates of styles that could potentially be applied to your site. So depending on which AI designer you pick, your site might end up looking a little different and having a different vibe. Just like the one on the left here, this guy, Ethan, he seems to be like more techy and, more modern, sleek design. Whereas, the one here on the right, or this one in the center might be a little more, standard kind of e-com or portfolio style websites, etc. So that's kind of just what we have over here. Another thing I see here is an add button, which I'm assuming will allow us to upload different files. I'm not sure what files it supports at the moment, possibly images and maybe even documents to explain what can be done here. Then on the bottom here, we have a few starter prompts or ideas for websites. So an event landing page, nail salon, local restaurant. We can go ahead and hit this and get some more ideas. So it kind of just goes through it. And if we are to select one of these, so let's say I select your travel blog, it kind of pre-populates the prompt here with a default extended explanation of what should be in the site and what it should look like. So I'm going to start off with one of these starter prompts because I think that's the most fair in terms of giving it something that it should be able to handle. I'm assuming that if these are the starter prompts that they created, then these will lead to building optimal sites. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit that create button right over here that popped up. And as this is creating, I just want to go ahead and show you a little something here. So if we just take a look at this, so this is not Wix Vibe, but you'll notice that it looks a bit similar. This is base 44. If you've been keeping track on the Wix Wiz newsletter, What the Wix, then you know that Wix acquired this company not too long ago. And the landing page looks quite similar. Again, this is speculative because it wouldn't exactly be like it wouldn't be big gossip if it was built on top of this base 44 to some extent, because Wix did acquire them and they probably acquired them to do certain things. But I just find the similarity a bit striking. Then again, it's also quite similar if you've used like Lovable or stuff like that. Then, a lot of these vibe coding sites, the landing page is quite similar to this. So it's a bit speculative, but I just wanted to point out the similarities there. And here, so our AI has already started generating some stuff here. So a site name, It's called here a site blueprint. We have a theme, etc. And I can either choose to edit the blueprint or generate site. I see that this blueprint is clickable as well. So I just want to see what happens if I click on it. So I'm guessing that went into the edit blueprint mode. And then I can actually just, edit things here by hand if I choose to, edit the colors here, etc. Okay, so that's what we can do over here. Key features, structure, and we can also continue the conversation here. But I want to move forward and see what actually comes at the other end before we start playing around. So I'm going to go ahead here and hit generate site. And let's see what comes out here on the other side. I'm kind of trying to see if this is going to be like a Wix site in the Wix editor, or if this is going to be a completely different thing. I did have a meeting with Wix a few weeks ago, and they showed me a code editor that, like a vibe coding editor, that didn't really look a lot like the Wix editor, which it looks kind of like what I'm seeing now. So I'm guessing it's this, even though I don't think it wasn't called Vibe, or they didn't tell me it was called Vibe, or they changed the name. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I'm looking out for here as I evaluate this platform, is to see what its relationship is to Wix's current offering or the current Wix editors. As you probably know, Wix had an AI editor in the past, the ADI, that they sunset that completely. And part of the process of building a new Wix website, if you're completely new to Wix, so like the out-of-the-box offering that they'll give you will be an AI chat process for building the website. But it's not so much, it might rely to some extent on generative AI, but it's still a highly controlled process. So it's probably quite different than what we're going to see here. And that's one of the things that I'm going to be looking out for to see the differences. So let's just peek around this editor as our site is still generating, and I don't know how long this is going to take. So here it's telling me that it's generating a site and destination guide CMS. So it's creating CMS content and CMS collections, which is great. Site layout, awesome. And whatever the next thing is, that's what it's working on now. In terms of things that I see here, so I see I have an input box for continuing the conversation. It's currently not active, but I hope to use that in a moment when the site actually is done. And here I see options to see site dashboard code. So let's see here for a second what happens when I toggle to dashboard. Okay, so this, I'm already starting to see relationships here, because this is looks exactly like a Wix website dashboard. And we can see here home. It's weird to see it kind of like in this smaller screen here. It's like usually the dashboard occupies the whole screen, so everything looks like a little small when you look at it like this. I wonder if there's like a way to, oh, you can probably click here, go to dashboard, opens it in a new tab. Okay, so you get the full view. Awesome. That's pretty much what I would expect. Let's just continue peeking around here. So if we go into CMS, let's see what it created already in the CMS. Okay, so it created destination guides, and it has just kind of pre-populated it with some mock data. The URL slug here. That's interesting. I wonder what this URL slug is for, and if it plans on making these dynamic pages, and if it can make these into dynamic pages. Whoops, I got rid of one destination name here by accident. Just put that back in. Yeah, so I see here other things that we would typically see in a Wix website dashboard. Pretty cool. Okay, so let's go ahead here and see code. And what I'm seeing here is what you would typically see if you were to open up. Let me see here. Let's see what's in source. Components. No. So what I was about to say, which would have been completely wrong, is that this looks a little bit like what you would see if you were to open up, let's say, the Wix IDE inside of Wix Studio or something like that. But this is actually completely different. I see that there's, I think this is built on Vite, which is, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And that's essentially kind of like a React, an approach to building React applications, I guess you can call. I don't want to call it a framework because React is a framework. So if React is a framework, then what's something that's kind of, it's like a meta framework equivalent to, let's say, Next.js. It's like a React approach that Wix seems to favor. I see it a lot in their examples when they're in their different like app documentation for creating apps for Wix. They usually almost always use this framework for building the application examples and templates. So that's what we're seeing here. So this is essentially built in React. You can see here we have a bunch of components that we can go in here. A lot of these seem to be pre-created components. So just judging by the speed at which things are happening and my experience using vibe coding tools, I don't think it would have been possible for the tool to create all of these components in the time that we've been waiting so far. I know it seems like we've been waiting a long time, but it's really not very much to create all of this code. So what I'm guessing is that these components are pre-created components that are automatically added into all projects, and then your project can essentially use this library of components to build out your website. So it may not even be that all of these components are actually included in your site. So for example, let's say calendar. I'm trying to think where a calendar might be included in the website that I requested, the travel website. Then again, it depends what this calendar actually looks like. But we can play around after and see if these components are all included or not. If not, it potentially includes a downside that your code base is a little bloated and includes things that you don't really need for your specific site, and they were just included for the sake of the platform, which is something that Wix in general suffers from today as well. But there's obvious reasoning for including it because it can make the site building process faster potentially initially, and because it also introduces a certain level of consistency in terms of the results of the websites that are built, which is still in the process of being built. So yeah, let's go ahead and see if we see anything here in site yet. No, so it's still building. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause until this is done, because I've done all the talking I can so far. And as soon as this is done, we can hop in and see the results together. Our site is ready. And just to give you a little sense of the time, so it was about 2 or 3 minutes since I paused the video that it took for this to complete. So not too long. Overall, the entire process, I guess I'd put it at 5 to 7 minutes to create the entire site. So a little longer than if you were just opening up a new Wix site in the editor, but not too bad considering the potential complexity of what's going on here on the site. So here we can kind of view the site in a kind of in-editor preview mode. We also have the option here to go and preview, I'm guessing, on another page, essentially like the test sites that Wix provides in its editors. And what we see here, so first of all, it looks quite responsive because it looked good on both of the screen sizes, so that's great. And what we have here is we have a bunch of different destinations. Let's see over here. So I'm already seeing some like quirkiness. Oh, destinations found. Here it says no destinations found. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the experience I would want from the get-go. I'd probably want it to display the experience. Yeah, so okay, it needs some tweaking, no doubt. Let's try and search. So I think maybe Japan was one of the destinations. Try. No, that doesn't seem to be working. Filters broke the site. So that does not seem to be working. Okay. Let's see what happens if we try to subscribe over here. So let's do testing@gmail.com. Subscribe now. Okay, it says we subscribed. Let's just check here. Let's check. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to check the console. See. Okay, so here we're seeing some errors that explain possibly why we weren't able to see the destination. So it seemed that the destination guides collection doesn't exist. If we go back over here to our dashboard, oh, that's weird. It seems to like be back to creating new stuff. Okay, let's see if I can open the dashboard in a new tab. So the beta-ness is definitely coming through, and because it's a beta, I want to be positive and optimistic, and these kinds of things are, can happen and are quite expected. I mean, AI, the challenge to building AI products is that there's a certain level of unpredictability to it. And that's also why some bigger companies, let's say Apple, is very much struggling with AI integration in general, because these are companies that previously were able to deliver very predictable products. Like Wix is a super predictable product most of the time, relative to AI, which you even with all the guidance in the world, you never really know what it's going to spit out on the other side. And that's kind of what we're seeing here, I guess. And these things will probably improve with time. So let's just take a look here at the CMS. I'm curious to see, so we do have a destination guides collection. I'm guessing just the naming is not right. So let's go over here to collection settings. And yeah, so the collection ID is destination guides as it's written here in the collection name, but in the code you saw it was all kind of lowercase with a dash in between. So that's why it's not finding these destinations, and that's why most of our site was not working. What I want to explore here is if we can fix that problem without actually telling it exactly what the problem is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell the AI over here that the destination searching didn't work. I didn't see any destinations, and clicking filter went to a blank page. Now, I could be nicer to this AI. I could give it the console logs, which would almost definitely point it in the right direction and help it fix it. But I just want to see here, just from a perspective of somebody who might not know to go look in the console logs, essentially a vibe coder who has no development or very little development experience, if they would manage to get their site to work without knowing how to kind of guide the AI in a more developer oriented way. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit that and send that over. I don't know what's going on here and why it shows that the site is still kind of something here seems to be in progress, even though it did deliver the site before. I see it started working here. So it's working on fixing the destination search issue. We can click here to show progress. So it's refining website layout and feature, identifying issues with search and filters. Yeah, but it's still kind of hard for me to understand like where it is in the process. So what I'll do again is I'll give it a pause and I'll reconnect with you as soon as I have something interesting to show. So I'm back. It's still working. I just wanted to give you like a peek into what's going on. What I did is I refreshed the page because I felt like something wasn't going right. And I saw like after this all these technical issue messages here. And then it seemed like it had stopped working on my previous thing. So I just kind of gave it a prompt like, hey, what's the status? What's going on here? And now it says that it's fixing it. It's not giving me a lot of insight. So just like to compare this experience to using something like Cursor or Lovable even, you usually can get like a little more insight if you choose into what edits it's making to the actual files. That helps you kind of understand what the progress is. Here I don't see anything like that, and I just kind of have to sit here on my hands and wait. In the meantime, let's take a peek and explore the code base a little more. One thing that I'm interested in seeing is how this application or website is utilizing the Wix JavaScript SDKs behind the scenes. I mean, it must be doing that because it's essentially what it did is it built a Wix headless website. So there's no Wix editor based front end. So it's a React front end and it's still connected to Wix backend. So we're using the Wix CMS, etc. And I want to see here in terms of the SDK how it's handling those things. So let's try and figure that out. So if we go here, for example, to our different components, pages. So let's go to that destinations. Let's see if we can find that destinations page. I'm guessing this is the page that the destinations were being searched on. And let's see what we have here. So I don't really see any functionality based imports over here, to be honest. I don't see, yeah, I don't see anything here. I wish, I'm kind of missing like a search option here for the code base. That would be really, really helpful if I could search the entire code base, but it doesn't seem that, I don't see an obvious place that we can do that at the moment. And yeah, so I'm trying to figure out, maybe it would be somewhere in hooks. No. Lib. Utils. No. Oh, it's using shadcn. That's an interesting point. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, this is where I would expect the search to be happening. Let's see. Fetch destinations. Okay, so await base CRUD service dot get all. And this is, oh, this is where the bug is. This is what it should be fixing. Hello, code, fix this. Yeah. So base CRUD service, again, like I can't search, so I don't even know. Let's see, base CRUD service from integrations. Let's see where that is. Okay, integrations, CMS. And okay, so here we have base CRUD service. And this is, so here we see the imports from the Wix JavaScript SDK. So this is where it's actually doing all the job, like the interaction with the CMS via the SDK. So that's just what I wanted to peek around and see what it was doing and confirm that that's how it was working. And that is how it's working. So yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was going to be anything else, but I just wanted to find where it was doing that. Okay, so let's see here. We have some progress. Search handling. Homepage visual update. Didn't ask for that. User authentication enhancement. Didn't ask for that. Favorite destination logic. Didn't ask for that either. Favorite destination association. Didn't ask for that either. So it's doing a lot of things that I did not ask for, and doesn't. Possibly this first one is the one that I did ask for, but I don't see the code changing. I don't see like a change log for the code. So overall, very hard for me to understand what's going on here. Yeah. So I think what I'll do is I'll wait for, I mean, I had more ideas for how to try and challenge this a little bit more and play around and see what it could do, but I'm Yeah, I think it's just a little too beta for me at the moment. I want to just try one more feature, which is this select and edit feature, which I think could be interesting and like a little different than what you get in a lot of the other AI IDEs. But it seems like I need to wait for this search fixing thing to be finished, and I have no idea about timelines. Our fix has wrapped up, so let's take a look and see what's going on here. So it says the destination search issue has been fixed. The application should now properly load destinations, allowing searching and filtering. So let's see how it did. I'm going to go and reopen our preview over here. And let's head over to the destinations page. And still no destinations found. I searched Japan, still nothing. And if we check out the console, then it still has the same problem. So again, I could have been nicer to it. I think I gave it like the hardest job possible, but my intuition and experience says that if this was another IDE, like if this was Cursor, it would have found the issue and fixed it, even with the guidance that I gave. So that's just, you can draw your own conclusions, but that's where we're at. I just want to check out this last select and edit feature, because I think that this is something that's quite unique. And this is really a way that Wix could potentially differentiate themselves from some of the other AI code editors out there, is the ability to interact with what the code generated as a non-coding designer. So essentially, we can select different elements, and here I have the option to change here for the text. Let's say I can go ahead and change font, and I can change text style, text formatting. So it's still quite limited. It's nowhere near the amount of customization that you might have with padding. I can change here, shadow. So really, it's not anywhere near the same level of customization that you'd have with the Wix editor. And I think my 2 cents is that if Wix really wants to stand out in this area, essentially the product of this experience should be a website that can be edited in an equivalent of the Wix editor in terms of its editing capabilities, and also be edited via AI coding. So if they can reach that point, I think then they really have a product on their hands. I think at the moment, like if I was to go and let's say create my own headless website, my own headless Wix website, and then go to an application like Cursor and tell it to create the front end here, essentially with all the functionality, and use the Wix JavaScript SDKs and connect to that headless website, I think it would probably do a better job than what this editor currently can do. And then with that in consideration, the only differentiator would be the editing capabilities, which still seem to be not fully fledged yet. Or at least, I mean, I hope that they're not fully fledged. I mean, it could be this is what they're planning on doing, but I think that for it to be a real competitor, it would need to get to the level where essentially I can open what I have here in an equivalent of the Wix editor in terms of all its editing capabilities, its drag and drop capabilities, like adding in new elements and stuff like that. That would be where they need to get, from my perspective, little me, to have something really competitive here on their hands. So that's what we're going to do for now. I don't really feel like fighting with it anymore and trying to get it to fix things or even add in new features. I think it's a cool new avenue for Wix. I think it's quite comfortably on their product development path. I think partially by chance. I don't think they foresaw the AI revolution when they released headless and stuff like that, but I think it just kind of fell into their laps that they have these technologies now. and they're able to merge it with the new generative AI stuff to create something new. So very cool. I hope to see where it goes in the future. I don't think it's going to be a go-to for me just yet in terms of creating sites or applications, but I will definitely be keeping an eye on it, and I hope you do too. If you enjoyed this review, then you can go ahead and give a thumbs up to the video. Let me know what you thought about the product if you've tried it out, and you can go ahead and leave, your comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this and also other tutorials about Wix and the Wix environment, then you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.